My brother partied away his teens, while I worked 2 jobs to save $15,000 for college. Then, he convinced our mom to let him borrow it, flunked out after 1 semester, and laughed when I asked for it back. When I told him he'd stolen my future, he rolled his eyes and said, "You're just mad I figured out how to win without working." I didn't say a word. That was 6 years ago. This morning, he was dragged out of court screaming, while the judge gave him 25 more years. Growing up, my parents always made it clear that college was our responsibility. They weren't wealthy, but they encouraged both my brother Jake and me to save every penny we could for our future education. While Jake spent his teenage years partying and buying expensive sneakers, I worked 2 part-time jobs throughout high school, one at a local grocery store and another tutoring younger kids in math. By the time I graduated, I had managed to save $15,000 in a dedicated college savings account. It wasn't enough to cover everything, but combined with scholarships and student loans, it would make my dream of studying engineering at State University possible. Jake, on the other hand, had maybe $2,000 saved and no real plan for his future. The summer before I was supposed to start college, Jake suddenly announced he was also going to attend State University. My parents were thrilled that both their sons would be getting an education, but I was confused. When I asked him how he was planning to pay for it, he just smirked and said he had it figured out. 2 weeks before freshman orientation, I went to check my college savings account balance to make final tuition payments. The account was completely empty. Every single dollar I had worked for over 3 years was gone. When I called the bank in a panic, they explained that since the account had both my name and my mother's name on it from when I was a minor, she had the authority to make withdrawals. I confronted my mother immediately. Through tears, she admitted that Jake had convinced her to let him borrow my money, promising he would pay it back after his first semester when his financial aid kicked in. She said Jake told her I could just take a gap year and reapply for more financial aid later. My own mother had chosen my lazy, manipulative brother over my carefully planned future. Jake acted like it was no big deal when I confronted him. He said I was being dramatic, and that family should help each other out. He promised to pay me back, but I knew better. This was the same brother who still owed me $50 from when we were 12 years old. I had to defer my admission and watch as Jake moved into the dorms with my money. He bought a meal plan, new clothes, a gaming setup for his room, and even joined a fraternity. Meanwhile, I was stuck at home, working double shifts at the grocery store, trying to save up enough to start school the following year. Jake's college experience was exactly what you'd expect. He partied constantly, barely attended classes, and flunked out after 2 semesters. Not only had he stolen my future, but he had completely wasted the money I had worked so hard for. When I asked him about paying me back, he said he was broke and would need time to find a job. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite being broke, Jake somehow managed to afford a brand new truck, designer clothes, and frequent trips to expensive restaurants. When I asked him about this obvious contradiction, he claimed he was doing freelance consulting work and getting paid in cash. I became suspicious and started paying closer attention to his lifestyle. Jake was living way beyond what any legitimate entry-level job could support, especially for someone with no degree and a terrible work ethic. He was always vague about his work, never had a consistent schedule, and seemed to have large amounts of cash but no official pay stub or tax documents. After months of watching him flaunt wealth while refusing to pay back a cent of what he owed me, I decided to do